The first campaign that we launched, we got that up to $1,000 per day in profit in about a week. So that was a really great success story there. It's not just 25% better results. We're talking 50, 100, 150% sometimes. We're averaging anywhere between $500,000 to $800,000 in ad spend per month. We can take 5 different hooks, 5 different videos, 5 different songs. And instead of before we were making 6 or 7 creatives, we can now make 150 in the exact same amount of time.
Hey everyone, my name is Dillian. I'm the founder of Refract, and today I'm joined by Cameron, who's the founder of Authors Direct Sales. Cameron, thanks for coming on today. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling in from Austin, Texas.
Sweet, sweet. You must be having good weather there right now.
It is. It's definitely picking up, nice and sunny.
That's good. For those of you who don't know what Authors Direct Sales is, could you give us a one-liner about what problem do you solve?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I solve is helping authors with selling their books online. So we've been doing this for about 3 years now. And what we do is we help them sell online using paid media, organic content, and the primary metric or the primary tools that they use is organic and paid media. And so the ability to be able to create as much content as we possibly can for them is our biggest lever driver, at least for them.
Got it. And if you don't mind me asking, how much monthly ad spend or how many clients do you guys take on per month?
Yeah, so we take on about 35 right now. And we're averaging anywhere between $500,000 to $800,000 in ad spend per month. We also do have a course as well that has gone out to hundreds and hundreds of more people. I believe it's over 1,000 actually at this point. And so across them, there's probably a vast amount more of ad spend, but this is just the clients that we are personally actually working with.
Sweet. Yeah, I guess I wanted to go right into one thing. So I noticed last week while going through our stats that your team generated over 18,385 ads, which is insane, like really, really wild. It's almost 600 a day. So I wanted to dig into more about like, how did that happen for you? And I guess before we go into that, we'll touch a bit about your old workflow and then how did Refract help you scale that?
Absolutely. So the best way that I could describe it or how I see it is it's all a balance of how much time that it takes for how many creatives you can make. So we can launch up 6 creatives. That's great. But if we can launch up 60 in the exact same amount of time and just test variables within those creatives, I see that as an advantage, because when we launch up those creatives in each campaign, there's typically only about maybe 10 to 15% of them actually work and work the best. And the way that I've seen it after using Refract is that if we didn't launch up those 60 creatives, we wouldn't have found that top 10 to 15%. So it's fine that 80% of them don't work, but that's kind of the point, is that you're trying to find those versions of those, say, 6 framework creatives. So you don't have to make 60 random creatives. You make 6 or 7 or 8 really, really strong creatives, and then you test variables about those. Because I can promise you that, I mean, every marketer knows this, that every person knows it, that the first second of a video is the most important. If you don't get anyone in on the first second, then the rest of the video is pointless. It doesn't matter, whatever. It could be the best video in the world. And so whatever they see on that very first second is extremely important. And Refract allows you to just test so quickly with being able to just split pieces in and combine to make so many different creative variations that Facebook is then able to take and to figure out because Facebook knows which one is going to work. So you can test. You can figure out which one works and which one keeps people's attention throughout the entire thing.
This is really good. I have like 2 follow-up questions on this. One is what variables do you test in these creatives?
Yeah, absolutely. So, because we're selling books, since these are authors, we tell a story, and so our main piece is the actual hook, and then the actual video that goes along with the story. And then we also typically test the audio that's in the background, which is vitally important for any brand. I can promise you that. Whatever audio or sound or voiceover that's playing in the background is extremely important. And so we can take 5 different hooks, 5 different videos, 5 different songs. And instead of before we were making 6 or 7 creatives, we can now make 150 in the exact same amount of time. And then, like I said before, we can figure out of those 150, 80% of them are not going to work. 85% of them are probably not going to work. But that's the point, is that we're looking for that top 10 to 15% that are going to work the best. We cut the rest, and then we got our winners.
Got it. I see. And um, building on top of this, what are your thoughts on creative diversity versus creative volume? I know you mentioned earlier that you pick a format and you're going with this one, but do you ever feel like you're missing out on testing other formats?
Yeah, so that is one thing. I know we were talking about that, about adding in images, which I would love to add in because images is a huge part of the creative diversity. Images definitely sit much lower funnel in the ads. Videos are definitely higher funnel. Luckily, in our stance, or in our position, videos in this specific scenario can kind of work top and bottom of the funnel, which is nice. But yeah, we're definitely looking for images to be able to split test different variables on images, especially when it comes to more general e-commerce. The product comparisons are extremely important, and seeing which variables on those product comparisons are working. And then that way you can test out, instead of just 3, you can test out like 30 different product comparisons, all with different points on them to see what people react to the most and what grabs their attention the most.
Gotcha. I see. I see. So I guess to understand more clearly, you've already decided in advance that this video format works the best for this niche, and that you're doubling down on this one. But you do want to test others in the future, if
Yeah,
possible.
exactly.
Yeah.
My sister explained this to me. She explained this really well, where like, would you rather spend 1,000 hours building out the right campaign structure, or would you spend 1,000 hours building out your creatives? And the answer is extremely clear, like creatives all the way. You could spend that time just building out a couple of creatives and you would do much, much better. There's no fancy campaign structure at this point with Facebook that's going to just save the day. It all comes down to creative. And so when leveraging Refract, I would highly recommend that you spend as much time as you possibly can, like building out the best creatives that you possibly can, and then leveraging Refract to test variations of those top creatives. You're not really
Mhm.
looking for Refract to build the top creatives, because you need to do that internally. The point of Refract is to be able to test those variables,
Yeah.
because like with the hook, you could build out the best creative ever, but if your hook doesn't keep them, it doesn't matter. It's like what I think it was Gary Halbert or Breakthrough Advertising, Eugene Schwartz was saying that 80% of your time should go into your hook. And so that's the most important thing. And so it only makes sense to test out multiple different variations of that hook to keep people in.
100%, 100%. For me, I'm curious about like what are the metrics like for you, and what are needle movers? So for me, from outside perspective, I hear you say you went from 6 creatives before to 60 creatives, and you're telling me that 85% of them don't even work or won't work as well. But how much of a leverage point
Yeah.
do you find like the volume gives you?
Yeah, and it's not that 85% of them like don't work. It's more of that the top 10 to 15%, they work 20 to 30% better, which is dramatic when it comes to scaling. And we just expect that because Facebook isn't going to use all 60 creatives. They're just not going to. They're going to try to find the best, and they're just going to use those, which is how Facebook naturally works. Um, and then what was the second part of your question? It was I just had a
Oh, no worries. I was wondering what is
metrics.
like the metrics? Yeah, the needle movers.
Yes.
Needle movers.
Yeah, so in our case, we since we have a lot of data on this specific niche, we know that our a healthy cost per click is around $1, and then a healthy CPM is around $25. And since we've been able to use Refract and find that top 10 to 15% of creatives, we've been able to lower that down to around a 75-cent cost per click and around a $20 CPM, which in our case is pretty dramatic. It's a pretty big needle
That's
mover, especially when it
massive.
comes to scaling. That doesn't mean that we can. If previously we were able to scale from $500 up to $500 per day with a campaign, getting those types of metrics allows us to get up to. It's not just 20% better. We're talking like you can get up to $1,000, $1,500 for that specific campaign. So
Hmm.
it's a pretty substantial difference.
Wow. That is a lot per month, to be
Yeah, we're
honest.
talking
Yeah.
25% more reach, more
Yeah.
impressions on our ads, and
Yeah.
25% more people going to the landing page. And when those things are combined, that's what helps us. It's not just 25% better results. We're talking 50, 100, 150% sometimes.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay, I want to go into one more thing. I noticed that when you first joined Refract, you already had a really good testing system. I think that you just ported it over into Refract and you're able to onboard very quickly relative to the rest of our customers. So could you tell us a bit more about that? Like, how do you go about testing or managing the testing system on your end?
Yeah, man, we were we were spending hours making creatives in Canva. We would we'd make a project, we'd duplicate that project, and then switch out the hook, and then duplicate it again and switch out the hook, and then eventually duplicate. I mean, it took hours and hours and hours. But I mean, we'd probably only test 10, 15 creatives. So that was our previous workflow. Was we were spending 2, 3, 4 hours building out the creatives in Canva, duplicating projects, just busy work stuff that was not moving the needle forward. And now we're able to flip that and focus much higher on quality, and then Refract, just snap your fingers and you got the quantity.
Wow, wow. Now it makes me wonder like what are you doing now instead now that you're using Refract? Like does that time just put
Yeah,
towards more
quality.
testing, more quality?
Quality,
Yeah,
honestly. Yeah,
yeah.
it's building out quality. It's making those couple of creatives. It's building out a better story. In our case, obviously, with other e-commerce, you can um, work on really narrowing things down inside the video and looking at those couple of videos, making sure you have the right scene changes and the right frame changes. Uh, if you're talking e-commerce, like the right jump clips. Um, and then that way you're not having to just build out a ton of different projects. You're able to really hone in on those couple of creatives and then just put it into Refract. And you got all of your hooks, all of your background sounds, all of your voiceovers, everything there as quickly as possible.
Got it, got it. Sweet, that sounds really good. Cool. I think those were most of my questions I had for today. Do you have anything that you wish I asked you, or do you want to share anything with the audience about either yourself or experience with Refract or anything?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Refract has been great. I mean, the customer support is great. Y'all have been very helpful. And I know when we hopped on, I believe it was about 2 months ago or a month and a half.
Yeah.
Um, and y'all have made some dramatic improvements in that time. So I'm excited to see where the platform goes in the next 5, 6 months. I mean, I think it's going to be vastly different. I'm going to keep getting you to get those images going because that's
Oh
going to be
yeah, yeah.
going to be
It's
fun.
one of the priorities too.
Yeah, but overall with the platform, it's been great. The first campaign that we launched up, it was for um, a new author, and I mean, we got that up to $1,000 per day in profit in about a week. So that was a really great success story there. And yeah, I mean, we're just excited to keep building and spending more time on quality and then using Refract for our variations. It's been great.
Sweet. Awesome. I'm glad we can help with that too. And last thing, where can our listeners find you?
Yeah, my website is Authors Direct Sales, and then my Instagram is Cameron R Snow, but I'm not too big on Instagram. I try to just build things kind of in the back end. But yeah, check us out at Authors Direct Sales, and that's about it.
Sweet. Awesome. All right, we'll end it there.